Hello, I'm Joe, and welcome to the Bad News Show. A little bit different for you, back to normal here. See, for those of you who are new to the channel, the last video I made there on Saturday night had, so it's got 7,000 views or something crazy going on right now. And I got over 150 new people, almost 200 new people on the channel. Subscribe, thank you. Please feel free to subscribe. But you didn't get the usual version of myself because my kids were upstairs sleeping just above me, so I had the mic turned hot, and I was talking really quiet, actually. And it's not the usual exciting Joey only show you get. Okay. Today is a special day in British Columbia. You see, I'm wearing orange. It's the only orange thing I got. I mean, I'm kind of a country singer who comes from a punk rock background. I generally wear black, right? That's what an outlaw country singer with a punk rock background would wear. But I do have this one orange shirt that Benson Munch, my native bro, who I fight fair with, almost pretty much every year I end up fighting a fire with Benson, and now we're in a company again together. But he bought me this shirt because it says Bobcat on it. He couldn't find one that says it in Mohawk, with anyways, if you worked in the bush with me, you know that I'm the Bobcat. Anyways, for the rest of you, when it comes to First Nations situation in British Columbia and beyond, you know what side I'm on. If you know me well, no need to go any further about that. Show my solidarity. All right. There's hurricane force low hitting the coast right now. It's the Bad News Show. Let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later.
Keep on going to the water.
They try mopping this. As has been the case for the last little while, this show is sponsored by Butterfly Effect Communications. I haven't talked for a little while about the project they do, the podcast. Wildfires, floods, and chaos communications, management of issues, crises, and disasters. This is a great podcast they have here. And if you don't know who these people are, they work in communications. So, for example, if you have a fire going on, you might have them as an information officer be the ones that are distributing information into the communities and doing that kind of thing. So they have very interesting podcasts where they're talking about all the different things that they do, what they've learned, all the different things that come up, right? So Recovering Together in the Caribou, Teamwork and Emergency Operations. Here's a new one that's up. Great podcast. Check it out. That's at communicationspodcast.ca. Now let's get on with the show. Just a little fact check before we go on. Did hurricane cause electric cars to explode? Well, yes, some electric cars did explode there, but it's the salt water that seems to have been key, right? It seems to be key that it was salt water. So it's not just that water will make electric cars explode. No, these cars were flooded with salt water. That's a whole nother issue. It's still kind of bad, I guess, right? Regardless, we at the channel here like truth and facts. That's what we are in the business of here. Truth and facts. We're not interested in anything else than truth and facts. Currently, Windy is having satellite issues. They're not getting a satellite feed for North America. So I don't know what's going on there, but this is Zoom Earth, which I do not have a subscription for. I'm not paying for Zoom Earth. So that's why we have some ads on the... However, poof. Here is our hurricane force low hitting the coast right now. We got wind warnings up on the coast and all kinds of hell breaking loose. As you can see, that rain is pushing inland. We got lots. It was raining in Quesnel. It's raining here in Wells. It's probably snowing on some of the mountaintops. It's awful out there. And you can really see this storm. It's, again, we got that same kind of atmospheric river setup with a big comma. Very strong storm, very low central pressure. I'm not exactly sure yet, but I'm sure we'll find out this episode how low it probably is. So it's suggesting that it's in the 960s now. So it's sunk even deeper. So right now, those lower winds are hitting into Haida Gwaii. And we get, again, just a nice look at how it's streaming up into the coast. And we got really this train of moisture moving across the Pacific. And storm after storm after storm keeps forming. You can already see the next potential storms out there showing up already. And when they come into the Aleutian Islands, I'm sure they will draw together and strengthen up somewhere along that edge. But that is not today's problem. Today's problem right now is wind warning on Haida Gwaii and maybe on some of the coast too. Very strong wind gusts, moist soil conditions could lead to fallen tree branches and power outages. The strong frontal system from an intense low pressure system will move across Haida Gwaii and the north coast today. Very strong southeast winds will accompany the front, rising 90 kilometers an hour to 110 over Haida Gwaii and expose coastal sections of the north coast late this morning, then weaken to southerly 30 to 50 early this evening in the wake of the front. Most of you will already be experiencing this or will have experienced this by the time you watch this episode, I'm sure. Sorry. I had kids to bring back to town today, so I'm a little bit late. We do have a snowfall warning up there in the Liard River. 10 centimeters of wet, slippery road conditions are possible. That's into Tuesday. That's Toad River to Steamboat Hill. Cooler air mass descending from the Yukon will clash with moist air from Pacific Frontal System. Give snow to Muncho Lake and Stone Mountain Parks. Snow is forecast to develop near midnight tonight and gradually ease Tuesday afternoon. Heaviest snowfall is expected Tuesday morning through to midday. Light flurries may be continuing Tuesday night. Over in the peaks, we got frost advisories, and that goes in through Alberta as well. Go down to Calgary, frost advisories. In the foothills country, go over to Saskatchewan, frost advisories. Even into western Manitoba, frost advisories. Over on the eastern side of Manitoba, there's a wind warning going on there. Some strong winds are happening. Go up to Churchill, Manitoba. Rainfall warning in effect, 60 to 75 mils in that area. That's not Churchill. Wind warnings, rainfall warnings. What's Churchill got for rainfall warning? 25 to 40 millimeters. So, sorry, Joe, no snow for you yet. And that continues up. That's a very large storm that's going on right now in Hudson Bay, has been really intensifying. Nunavut low, I think Justin called it, something like that. 90 kilometers per hour beginning tonight overnight on the Quebec side, and up at the very top as well at Saluit. 110 kilometer hour winds are expected up there. If you go over towards Edmundston, New Brunswick sort of section, got frost advisories there as well. So that's everything going on in Canada at the present here on Monday afternoon. And just having a look at some of these winds that are out there in the storm right now, that Windy's saying is down to 963. So that is hurricane force, right? This is the hurricane that just hit down south. I'm not sure what it got down to, but I don't think it was a 963. So this guy's feeding cold air from the south, pulling warm air and moisture in on this band here. As you can see, it's feeding into it. It's this inflow is very strong now. Going up, it's just past Haida, probably more or less, moving towards the coast, the strength of it. So we got strong winds going on right now in that area, and 107 in some spots there, and maybe in between the straits here where the wind gets funneled a little bit more, that might see an increase there. It's kind of like when you see this often with wind, it will intensify much the same way that water will. If your river goes from a small stream and is forced into a narrow area, that usually picks up the speed of the river, right? So we got some wind reports right now, 58 kilometers an hour up at one of the airports there, and you go to the very southern tip of the island, 68 kilometers an hour has been measured there. Over on the coast side, some 46s, some 43s, some 36s up there. Some of the wind totals up there are going to be pretty strong. 76 down here on the coast. That's on top of Vancouver Island, 90 up at Sartine Island Meteorological Station. So there you go. Some very strong winds are blasting out there that are being reported. We got 102 report here from a ship. So a ship is reported 102 kilometers an hour. 139 reported from a ship out there. You would not want to be that ship, man. Holy! Think about what the waves are doing there right now. Oh, so only 8-meter waves for that poor bastard stuck in that goddamn storm right now. 72 over here. That guy's getting 7.6 meter waves there. Hey, go to the southern edge. Now we're talking almost 10-meter waves. I'm sure there's 10-meter waves. There we go. 10-meter waves. So over 30 feet. Well over 2 meters hitting on that west side of Haida right now. And over in the straits, still pretty calm and protected by Haida itself. And so it's chilly out there. We do have snow moving across northern BC, more or less right now. So on this map, the green is rain, of course. So would be the darker colors. This just delineates stronger amounts of rain. The purple there would be a mix. So, mix of rain and snow, slush, crap like that. And the blue is obviously the snow. So lots of snow expected to fall in northern BC and in the coast mountains. That's going to make its way here to the Caribou tonight, most likely, and overnight. What I was saying last video, some of the first serious snowfalls of the year. Now we see that low when it finally does move into land. It's going to start sliding down the coast, and it's going to weaken out and die off. It will keep dumping some snow and precipitation into the same areas that have been taking it really hard lately. So that'd be areas south of Prince Rupert, Bella Coola, and then, of course, very little of it actually making its way into the southern British Columbia. Very little of it making to southeast BC, especially. Northern BC taking a lot of it. Coast Mountains taking a lot. A little bit through Vancouver Island. And North Rockies and Caribous definitely seeing snow and rain at different times. It's raining here in Wells right now, but snow has been a thing. Then we got a couple days where it's nice. Yeah, okay. And then, we've started the whole process over again. The pattern continues. Here's that storm sliding down the coast, dying off. See the jet stream. There's our big one I was just talking about earlier. That's the story of the week, basically up there in the far north. And you can see the jet stream is more or less going right across Canada. So unsettled weather. So that unsettled weather just more or less continues to be a Canadian story. More or less, more or less. It's fall. So we look at rain accumulation over the next couple days. Some of those same places along the coast mountains, like I was saying, taking a lot of it. And it will also be taking snow at the same time, at night. For example, in the high country, places that took rain during the day may take snow at night. And that goes for the caribou. So you look at over the course of this week, precipitation, almost everyone in BC gets a little, except for that southeast corner. You don't really see much at all down in the South Kootenays, down near the border country, maybe Grand Forks, whatnot. And we know how badly that area down south really does need it. It needs it pretty bad, right? But and it's not getting it. So unfortunately for you, we've had fires in Christina Lake that yesterday were a cause for concern. There were some evacuations quickly. There was Grand Forks last week, same thing, right? So it's dry enough down there that fires are still picking up and running. However, the window at which they can have much success is very limited for them. So the day of their initial fire, the initial spread, okay, it's taken off, it's running, things are dry, the wind is pushing it, it's moving, and then suddenly nighttime hits, dew point hits, temperatures come down, overnight recovery hits, it's cold, it's not conducive, it's not good weather for fire spread. Fire just going to sit down and either take it and then wake up the next morning to find that it's now wrapped or that there's a plan in place to defeat it. So these are alarming stories when they happen, but take it with a grain of salt. If you can get through the day that these things happen at this time of year, you're probably going to be okay. So yeah, big snowfall this week still. Big snowfall. Talking up to 70 centimeters in some of the mountains up there. Here in the Caribou Mountains, 60s. Sure. Yeah, I could see that. Here in Wells, we woke up with snow in our vehicles this morning. That was gone quickly. Now it's raining. It'll turn to snow again tonight. Northern BC seeing larger amounts. Especially if we go some of these areas up by Moncho and Stone Mountain, through Liard is whatnot, up to Watson Lake, bit of snow tonight. So even the southern Yukon getting some snow this next little while. And then there's always those places on the coast where you go, wow, that's a lot of snow for that particular spot of mountain. Very little of it falling as you get down south. But like I was saying last episode, if you're traveling through some of these places, like I don't know if the Paulson will be bad. No, probably not. But the Revelstoke area, you're going to have times driving into Jasper where it's bad. You're going to have times driving with the Pine Pass, it's bad. Times on Highway 16 where it's going to be bad to drive through. Maybe the Duffy Lake could get messy at times. Maybe going over the Coca Hollow or through the Highway 3. Crow's Nest direction, you might run into spots, especially at nighttime, where the road traveling is, and you say, oh, it's so early, I don't have my winter tires on yet. Well, this is British Columbia, and this is the kind of winter we're going to have. So, mix in the Caribou Mountains of weather right now. Big time rainfall totals heading up the coast on this band of precipitation that's moving through. See large pulse of snow coming through the north. Some spots of mixed freezing rain. That's what those exclamation marks are. Freezing rain spots up to tonight into McBride, Blue River, down the Rockies and towards the Revelstoke and Columbia's. Along the coast mountains, this pulse comes down really hard through into Tuesday morning. So expect, if you have any business through Ucluelet, you're going to take a good soaking as that keeps sliding on downwards. And our storm is just kind of hanging out there. It can't seem to move. It can't seem to break inland. And it's going to get defeated more or less. Here it's starting to die off. You can see it, but it doesn't matter. It's still sending its precipitation inland nonetheless, even if it's not finding the ability to easily just move inland as a low. The mountains are blocking it. There it is, dying off, 993, lowering out pretty quick by overnight Wednesday. So nonetheless, consecutive days of snowfall and rainfall. Terrace taking lots of rain, probably on Wednesday morning. So expect that. Another one of those pulses moving down as that low squeezes out and more or less dies off. Struggles to be anything relevant left. There it is, landing in the interior now at 1014. That's barely low. That's almost what you would call high pressure in a lot of days. So there you go, high 1020 squeezing in. Eventually we're going to have that high pressure take back over in BC. It's not going to keep things all that warm, though. I don't think we're going to be looking at very warm weather this week. I mean, freezing in some places, Fort St. John, Fort Nelson, we already saw some of those frost advisories. I think that's just going to continue right here in Wells. We're probably going to get down to minuses at night for sure. That high pressure establishing itself most likely Thursday morning. We'll probably have a nice day Thursday, maybe even on Friday too. That's a couple days out, so we'll kind of wait and see. But this just gives us a picture of what may be coming next weekend. A weaker low sort of sliding on in. things more or less haven't changed much since the last forecast, right? So expect, you look at temperatures right now, they're more or less seasonal at the very south. Kelowna's at 14. Look at nighttime tonight, not too bad. Through this week, though, temperatures aren't great for BC, more or less average. A little nicer over in the prairie side, the Regina and Swift Current, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge even getting up to 21. They're enjoying the Chinook conditions that come from when BC gets a bad storm. They often get benefited with nice weather. Cold at night in the Rockies, cold at night in some of the coast mountains, down to freezing, well below freezing if you're up in the northern Rockies. Not nearly as warm on Wednesday, even say 4 in the morning or something like that. Here we go, 5 in the morning. And just get a look at where some of those temperatures are. Blue River could be almost down to 0. Prince George, even Quesnel. You're getting into, even in the low country in some of these places, Trail at 0, Cranbrook at 2. So even in the low country, some of these places are going to be seeing frost quite likely as you get later in the night, later in the week. So thanks everybody who's helping me grow the channel. It's growing fast, growing really fast. Almost 200 new subscribers in the last 2 days. Like, okay, wow, that's amazing to me. I'm really surprised and flattered and shocked and thanked. Full to everybody. And I plan to invest back into the project, right? So expect to see some new toys coming in the future for weather modeling and things like that. And all this is made possible because of people like you and Leslie Dean, who gave a great contribution to the channel this week. So thank you, Leslie, and everybody who's helping me right now grow this channel and making this be the thing I want to do. So as you can see, very high precipitation still coming in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon as I'm signing off here on the video. And it looks like some possible snow going on out there in some of the higher countries. These sort of radar images, Mark gave a great explanation on the live stream the other night. These sort of radar images more conducive to snow. So we got a mix of snow and rain, lots of moisture moving through Prince George area right now. Nasty day. That's okay because bad weather is good for business around here. So hit like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks. That's all for now, I think. Bye.